April 26, 1986, 1:23 in the morning. In a few seconds, Reactor 4 will explode and become the worst nuclear disaster in history. But here's what the TV show never made clear. The men in that control room thought they were shutting the reactor down. Pressing the emergency stop is what blew it up. The HBO series gave you the drama, the panic, the politics, the cover-up. But the real villain that night was invisible. It wasn't a person, it was physics, hiding inside the reactor's own design. Let me show you exactly what happened, step by step. Ironically, it all began with a safety test. The idea was reasonable. If the power grid failed, could the reactor's own spinning turbines power the cooling pumps long enough for backup generators to kick in? To run the test, they needed to lower the reactor's power. It was supposed to sit at around 700 megawatts, but the power plunged almost all the way down to about 1% of normal. And at that moment, deep inside the core, an invisible enemy began to take over. Meet xenon 135. It's a byproduct of the fission process, and it's the most powerful neutron absorber in the entire reactor. Think of it as a sponge. It soaks up the neutrons that keep the chain reaction alive. Normally, this isn't a problem. A reactor running at full power burns through xenon as fast as it forms. But now the reactor was crawling at 1%, so the xenon wasn't being burned away. It flooded the core. It choked the reaction. The reactor was dying, poisoned by its own waste. And the operators, determined to finish their test, made a fateful decision. To fight the xenon and bring the power back up, they pulled out almost all the control rods, the rods that absorb neutrons and keep the reaction in check. Against the safety rules, the core was now dangerously exposed. And this is where the RBMK's fatal design flaw comes in. In this reactor, the cooling water also absorbed neutrons. It acted like a brake. But when water turns to steam, that brake disappears. Neutrons that the water would have absorbed now fly free, and the reaction speeds up. More power makes more steam. More steam removes more braking, which makes even more power. A vicious loop feeding itself. Engineers call it a positive void coefficient. I call it a trap, and it was about to spring. At 23 and 40 seconds, an operator pressed AZ5, the emergency shutdown. Every control rod began to drop into the core. This should have stopped everything. But the rods had a flaw almost too cruel to believe. Their tips weren't made of the neutron-absorbing boron. They were made of graphite, a moderator, which actually speeds the reaction up. So as the rods dropped, their graphite tips entered the core first, pushing out water and replacing the brake with an accelerator. For one unthinkable instant, pressing the emergency stop made the reaction explode. In seconds, power spiked to around 30,000 megawatts, 10 times the reactor's full capacity. The fuel vaporized. The steam pressure tore the reactor apart. Chernobyl wasn't simply human error. It was a flawed design and broken rules, colliding at the worst possible moment. After 1986, every RBMK reactor was modified. The positive void coefficient fixed. The graphite rod tips redesigned. Containment buildings made mandatory everywhere. And Chernobyl today, a guided visit to the exclusion zone gives you about the same radiation dose as a transatlantic flight. Wildlife has been thriving there for over 30 years. Physics doesn't forgive design errors, but it teaches us how to do better. That's the real legacy of Chernobyl. Want me to break down Fukushima next? Tell me in the comments.